In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my favorite free online resources for artists. I wanted to put this list together to share with you because I know that with the vastness of the internet, things can get quite overwhelming. Even though we have a ton of resources readily available for us at any point in time, we oftentimes don't know what's best, we don't know where to start, and this can really hinder us or make us not want to do anything at all. I've organized these resources for you into 4 main categories. In the first category, I'm going to be including sites that I go to when I am looking for some type of reference. In the second category, I'm going to be including sites that I go to whenever I'm looking to learn more about art history, specific artists, and also movements. Category number 3 is software and sites that include color palette generation. And finally, category number 4 is extra auditory inspiration. And in this one, I'm including podcasts that I often like listening to when I am working. Okay, so let's jump into the first category, which is the references one. I do want to mention that I always recommend, if you're looking for deeper artistic development and really progressing your skills as an artist, there is nothing better that you can do than taking your own art reference photos. This helps you increase your knowledge on composition. You can actually ensure that the piece is entirely your own and you're not going to get into any trouble. And also you have full control. However, what if I want to paint a polar bear or a lion and I have no easy access to these animals or other scenes that I might want to paint or draw, like snow, for example? Or what happens if I don't have time to take my own photos and I just want to jump right in and get to work? In these cases, it is perfectly fine to use other people's photos as long as you have permission to do so. Or make sure that you're changing the reference photo enough so that no one can easily trace your work back to that reference photo. These 3 websites are pexels.com, pixabay.com, and unsplash.com. These are great websites that you can go to if you're looking for reference photos for drawing or painting purposes. And what's cool is that the majority, not all, but the majority of the photos in these websites are actually taken by photographers. Maybe these aren't the best photos that they took. Maybe these were just the ones that were left over from certain photo shoots. However, a lot of them show good composition because they were actually taken by professional photographers. And another thing is that all these photos are larger photos with a good resolution, which are going to allow you to zoom in whenever needed as you're working. And another thing that is awesome is you can use any of these photos for whatever kind of artwork and you're not going to get into trouble because these photos are under the Creative Commons license and all these websites explicitly state that you can do whatever you want with them. And you can come across other illustrations or paintings created by other artists where they have used the same photo. There is nothing better than taking your own art reference photos, especially when you're going to be working on a piece where you're going to be spending a lot of time on that. Because this way you can ensure that nobody else is going to be using that photo except you. These 3 websites have all kinds of different photos with all kinds of different subjects, from still life to portraits to animals, landscapes, and more. And it's very easy to look for the photos that you need. All you need to do is type in whatever you're looking for in the search field at the top. Okay, so the next website, which I'm sure a lot of you already know, is Pinterest. Pinterest is also a great search engine where you can easily look for reference photos for whatever kind of artwork it is that you're working on. It is not unusual to be looking for an image and to have one of the photos from Pixabay, Unsplash, or Pexels.com pop up. And this is because anyone can pin images onto Pinterest. And if those images are from those websites, then they're going to be pretty large and and easy to use because those are quality images. However, other images that pop up might be a lot smaller and not as optimal for drawing or painting purposes. However, if you're just using them as a source for loose inspiration, or your art style that you're going to be using is going to be a lot looser, more expressive, and less detailed, then there might not be that big of an issue if you're using those images. One other thing that you need to be aware of is that a lot of these images that are popping up on Pinterest, you don't necessarily have full permission to use. This doesn't mean that you can't use them if you are working on personal pieces that you're not going to be sharing among a wide audience, or on pieces that you're creating for your own practice and development in your sketchbook. But just know that a lot of these images that do pop up on Pinterest, we don't necessarily have permission to use for artwork that we're going to be sharing or selling. One thing I do love about Pinterest is our ability to create boards or little collections of images. Pinterest boards can be awesome when you are starting to develop your artistic style, or you're looking for reference photos for a specific project, because you can very easily compile images into these folders or boards. It's very cool to collect images that call to you for one reason or another in these boards, and then look through them and find these common threads in terms of the style, colors, and how the artist or illustrator or even photographer made use of different elements and principles of art, because this way you can come to a conclusion as to what you like best, so that you can then use those characteristics in your own way, in your own work. Moving on from there, we have another visual search engine, and this one is called Same Energy. This one is similar to Pinterest in the sense that you can pretty much look for anything you want, and a whole array of different images are going to pop up, from paintings to illustrations to photos. However, I would see this website as more of a mood board of sorts, where you're looking for general inspiration and you want to see a whole range of different reference images at once. Maybe you like combining things that you find in different reference photos, because when you click on one of these images, it's not going to become large. It's just going to take you to another collection of a ton of different images. So I wouldn't say that this is a good website if you're looking for one single reference image. These photos are all going to be pretty small. Moving on from there, this is a website that I really wanted to share with you because they just provide so many different resources. Some of them are paid, but a lot of these are also free. I've been watching videos from Art Prof over on their YouTube channel for many years, and I really admire what they do to encourage artists to stay on their journey and also provide resources for people really looking to improve. This was actually founded by an actual art professor in a well-known art school in the United States, and she has brought in a whole bunch of different art students and also professional artists, and they are constantly giving these talks and providing information for everyone that is looking to improve their skills and their knowledge and looking to delve deeper into their art journeys. All kinds of different important art topics and all kinds of different mediums and subjects. But aside from their videos where they give all of these talks on important topics, they also provide these resources which include reference photos of faces, of bodies, of parts of bodies, hands, also animals, and you can find all of these on their website for free. You're also going to find links on their website to their YouTube channel. And over on their YouTube channel, as I said, you're going to find lots of different talks on different topics, but also they have these playlists where you can actually work on timed sketches of figures, of animals, of hands, of faces. You can find these videos and references all organized on their website in the resources section. And this is so incredibly helpful because when you're trying to improve your drawing of anything anatomical, it's pretty hard to come across good reference photos of things like hands and bodies and heads online. And videos like this, which have been prepared for us with a little timer so that we can practice our timed sketching, are also hard to find. All right, so the next few sites are especially good for those of you looking to improve your figure drawing, your gestures, anything anatomical really. The first one is Line of Action. And here, what's cool is that you can really choose which reference photos are going to pop up for you. You can choose model genders, you can choose if you want them clothed or nude, and you can even make it a timed sketching practice again and choose what amount of time you want before the image switches to the next one. This kind of practice is just invaluable, especially for those of us who maybe don't have easy access to a live drawing situation where you have a live model in front of you. But even if you do, I would always recommend you work on this kind of practice on your own to develop basic skills, using reference photos of people in all kinds of different poses and with different types of bodies before practicing drawing a figure from direct observation. The next site is quickposes.com. This is also a great website where you can choose what kind of figure reference is going to pop up for you, and all you have to do is choose from the little menu that they have right there and click on start. I find this one is great for people looking to draw characters that are taking specific actions, maybe warriors or superheroes. You're gonna be able to find all kinds of action poses and interesting poses like that. Sketchdaily.net is also a good reference site for those of you drawing specific characters, because you're going to be able to find photos of people with different costumes and taking specific actions. And it also allows you to set a timer if you want to make this into a timed sketching practice. Moving on to a YouTube channel that I have found so helpful in my own journey towards improving my own figure drawings. And this is the New Masters Academy YouTube channel. And more specifically, their timed figure drawing playlists, which they have a bunch. And this is pretty close, at least in a virtual sense, to drawing live models that you have in front of you, because these playlists are one single model, and that single model is in a whole bunch of different poses. And there is a great variety of models there in their YouTube channel. Females, males, with clothes, without clothes, etc. It's awesome. This next website is something that I just came across the other day, and it is going to be so helpful for those of you that love drawing or painting animals and are looking to improve the 3D-ness and realism in your animal drawings or paintings. What's super cool about this site is that you can look for animals based on species, and also you're going to be able to see this 360 view that you can rotate of that particular animal's skull. Lots of different photos as well of that particular animal's head are going to pop up on the right. Doing skull studies, whether the skull is of a human being or an animal, is just so incredibly helpful if you're looking to improve your portraits, your heads. The skeleton is the underlying structure of what we're able to see. And by understanding that skeletal structure, you're gonna be able to take your drawings and paintings to a new level. Moving on from there, we have setpose.com, and this is another super great one for anyone looking to improve the realism in their figures. This is very much like one of those wooden mannequins that we can find in art supply stores. When a lot of us are getting started with drawing the human body, it can be very difficult to visualize the body from all sorts of different angles and perspectives and understand how foreshortening works when it comes to drawing the body. The body is an incredibly complex compound structure, and it can move in so many different ways. And seeing the body simplified into just simple forms and just playing with this model can be so helpful when we're building up those skills. However, when we're trying to draw a specific pose, we can also use this kind of mannequin as a base, as a foundation for our drawing, so that we can visualize everything effectively and then actually flesh out the figure to make it whatever we want it to be. The next one is Pose My Art. And this one is similar to the last one in the sense that you can really develop your ability to visualize the human figure from all sorts of different angles and perspectives as a 360 view. However, with this one, you're able to choose between more simplified or more realistic bodies, whether it's male or female bodies. And it is a little bit harder to use than the previous one when it comes to changing the pose, moving the limbs, and all that kind of stuff. It definitely takes time to explore this one and get used to all these tools. Let's jump into category number 2, and these are sites that are excellent if you want to further your knowledge on art history, movements, and famous artists. The first one is Google's Art and Culture. This is an awesome website where you can learn so much about art history, movements, and specific artists. You can even explore by art mediums. In past videos, I've explained how important it is to not just get inspiration from current living artists via Instagram and that kind of thing. It's so important to make time for research and learning about art from the past, art throughout history. It can really help you open up your horizons and create an art style that is very unique. Google's Art and Culture is very thorough, it's very complete. I love that the images are pretty high quality and you can expand them to see the detail, and there's just so much there. And let me just tell you, you're gonna get so much more out of spending 30 minutes exploring this website or the others that I'm gonna be sharing next than whatever you're gonna gain from scrolling on Instagram. Another great website where you can learn so much about art history and artists and movements is theartstory.org. You can learn about specific artists, and everything is very well categorized and organized in this website. You can sort art by movement, by period, by country, by genre. And something that this site also includes, which is incredibly helpful, are actual timelines where you can make sense of when different art movements happen throughout history. You can click on the specific movement that you want to learn more about. You're going to get more information about the movement and specific artists that participated in that movement. You can click on the artist and then learn more about the specific artist. There's just so much there. Moving on to a few YouTube channels that I find incredibly interesting and I've learned so much from. The first one is The Art Assignment. Here you're going to be able to find videos on lots of different art-related topics, not just about artists and understanding specific artworks, but philosophical questions about art and topics that will really get you thinking. These next 3 YouTube channels are very much about specific artists and their lives and understanding masterpieces. If you'd rather watch videos than read articles and going through websites like the ones that I shared before, you might find these better for your learning style. The first one is Behind the Masterpiece. The second one is Great Art Explained. And the third one is The Art Tourist. These videos are really well made, very well researched, and things are explained in a way that anyone can easily understand. So I would highly recommend checking them out. Category number 3 is software and color palette generators. The first one that I have to share is definitely GIMP. GIMP is a free photo editing tool that you can download for Mac or PC via their website. And it includes all of those basic tools and filters that are available for us on Photoshop, which are so helpful for any artist who draws or paints. Even though I would definitely not consider GIMP as user-friendly as Photoshop, it does allow you to very easily do things such as crop images, color edit, or increase the contrast in photos, turn photos into black and white images, and it also even helps you do something similar to what Photoshop allows you to do with the cutout filter, which I've explained in the past, which is so helpful for value studies, where the image is simplified into simple shapes of different values, so that you can easily discern between dark areas, mid-tone areas, and lightest areas, so that you can make them happen in your drawings or paintings. So having some sort of photo editing software is just a must, in my opinion, for any artist. Very rarely are we going to come across a photo that is perfect as is to use for drawing or painting purposes. At the very least, I find that I have to crop the image before getting started. Moving on from there, I'm going to be sharing 2 websites that are awesome for color schemes. One of them is colormind.io and the other one is Coolers. Color is such an important element of art that plays a huge role in making our visual compositions look harmonious and cohesive. So it's very important that we plan for our colors that we're going to be bringing in, and these 2 sites are very helpful for that. They can give you sets of colors that look great together that are predetermined, but what's also cool about these 2 websites is that you can upload a photo or whatever image, and then it'll create a color scheme based on the colors present in that photo. So if you're ever wondering what paint colors to choose for your painting process, seeing those solid colors simplified for you as a basic palette taken from that photo that you're going to be working with as a reference can really help you choose which paint colors to use. But of course, color schemes can be used in so many different ways. You can always choose to change the colors present in that photo entirely to create more of an expressive look. However, even in these cases, we want to make sure that we're choosing color schemes that will lead to harmonious results. And in terms of software that you can download, which you can definitely find helpful as an artist who draws or paints, there are so many different phone apps that you can download for free nowadays that do so many different things. And I just want to encourage you to explore some of them. Take photos with your phone and see what those different apps allow you to do. Because I have some in my phone, and I also have different students that have told me about their own apps that they have found that allow them to do all these different things. Some of those even allow you to do things which are very similar to filters that you can add to photos in Photoshop. You can turn an image into a grayscale image for a value study, or into a monochromatic image for a painting, or you can use it to crop your images for better compositions. All sorts of different things like that. And I just want to encourage you, give some of those a try and explore them for yourself, because it's very likely that you'll find one that you'll like. And I think as an artist, it's so helpful to use your phone, which nowadays have such great cameras, and have your phone on hand when you're going out and maybe you're taking a walk or you're out in a supermarket, and just take some quick photos that you can use as references for future art pieces. And category number 4 is extra auditory inspiration. Okay, and just to finish up, I want to share some of my favorite inspirational podcasts that I love listening to as I am working. These podcasts talk about all sorts of different art-related topics, from how to deal with burnout, how to develop a strong artist mindset, how to get inspiration, why it's important to take breaks, and I find it very inspiring to hear about personal experiences shared by other artists. It helps you feel less alone. And I do currently use a Mac, so I do listen to these podcasts via iTunes. However, I want to show you a way that you can find these podcasts very easily via Google, and you can listen to them via Google Podcasts, even on PC, or sometimes you can click on the link to go to the original website, and the podcast episodes will be available for you over there. My first favorite podcast is Creative Pep Talk. This one is from illustrator Andy J. Pizza. He definitely speaks with a lot of heart, and I find his podcast very inspiring. The next one is Lisa Congdon's podcast. Unfortunately, she has stopped creating new episodes, but she has a library of old episodes that are still available and still incredibly powerful. The next one is Beyond the Studio. So helpful for both beginner and more advanced artists. And finally, we have Art Juice. And usually these episodes in Art Juice are a conversation between 2 working artists on different topics, from how to handle scams, hacks, and trolls, how to handle critiques and feedback, how to stay creative through times of change, and much, much more. I really hope that you enjoyed this one. I hope that you found it helpful. If you give any of these websites or tools a go, let me know. I'd be so happy to hear from you. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your art practice and talk to you very soon.